You do not need to try hard. You only need to believe inwardly and then let go. The moment you rest in the assumption that your desire is already yours, you align with the force that shapes all things. So many of us have been taught to chase, to strive, to push. But desire is not granted through effort. It is made real through acceptance. When you say, "It is done," and feel the truth of that within yourself, reality begins to obey. Relax. Let your mind grow still. For it is not in chaos that worlds are made, but in the quiet certainty of belief. When you relax, you move from the outer world to the inner sanctuary. It is there that creation begins. And what you hold in your inner world, if held with feeling, must externalize. You're even the impossible? Yes, especially the impossible. Because what you call impossible is simply what your senses cannot yet grasp. But your imagination is not limited by the five senses. It sees beyond. And when you accept a thing as real in imagination, you give it permission to enter your world. Allow. That is the sacred word, allow. The desire to live in you as if it were already complete. Feel the peace of it. Walk as if it has already come to pass. And without force, without stress, it will emerge from the unseen into the seen. Stop looking for signs. Stop doubting the process. The seed does not beg to grow. It grows because it was planted. So plant your seed and trust. If you can feel it real, you will live it. If you can see it within, it will show itself without. This is not magic. It is law. You are not here to struggle. You are here to remember your power. And your power lies not in how much you do, but in how deeply you believe and how peacefully you allow. So I say once more, relax and allow. Even the impossible will manifest. Because nothing is denied to the one who claims it inwardly and walks as though it is already so. Let it be done in you, and watch what was once impossible bow to your inner certainty. Imagination is not a fantasy. It is not make-believe. It is the womb of creation, the silent architect behind every form and circumstance you see around you. The world you call reality is simply the outpictured reflection of your inner imaginal acts. Those persistent thoughts and emotional convictions you entertain, knowingly or unknowingly, in the quiet chambers of your mind. Everything begins in imagination. Before a house is built, it exists in the mind of the architect. Before a book is published, it lives in the writer's vision. Before love is experienced outwardly, it is first felt inwardly. The world you experience is not separate from you. It is you pushed out. It mirrors your assumptions, your beliefs, and most importantly, your felt imagination. You may believe that your thoughts are fleeting, disconnected from the material world. But what you do not realize is that what you vividly imagine and emotionally accept begins to take root, just like a seed dropped into fertile soil. Your emotions water it. Your belief gives it warmth. And soon enough, what was once only a thought takes form and becomes your lived reality. This is not theory. This is law. If you persist in imagining yourself as poor, unwanted, or limited, life will obligingly wrap itself around those convictions. Not because the world is cruel, but because you are creating unconsciously. The outer world, though seemingly solid, is not fixed. It is clay in your hands. And imagination is the sculptor. You may say, but I want wealth, I want love, I want freedom. Wanting is not enough. You must become what you seek, not by effort, but by feeling, by imagining it vividly, by entering the state of the wish fulfilled and resting there, not for a moment, but until that state becomes natural to you. What does it mean to feel something as real? It means to close your eyes and not merely see, but live within your desire. To walk in that new version of yourself, hear its sounds, feel its texture, breathe its air. The mind does not distinguish between reality and a deeply felt imagination. It accepts what you feel to be true. And once it is accepted, life reorganizes itself to reflect that new belief. This is why people can change their circumstances without changing their actions, because a change was made inwardly first. Reality must follow the blueprint you hold within. You are never at the mercy of facts, because facts can change, and they do change once the inner assumption changes. The truth settles in you. Imagination is the first cause, not effort, not hustle, not even time. Imagination, when accepted with conviction, bends time, reshapes conditions, and overrides limitations. It is through imagination that miracles occur, not because the laws of the universe are broken, but because you finally align with your true creative power. You do not need to ask how it will happen. That is not your part. Your part is to feel it real, to persist in the assumption that it is already so, to refuse the evidence of the senses and instead walk by faith in your imaginal act. The longer you remain faithful to it, the sooner it will become externalized. Your current life is a harvest of past imaginations. If you want to change the harvest, plant different seeds. Imagine differently, feel differently, accept a new truth for yourself, and do it with joy, not strain. Creation is meant to be a gentle unfolding, not a battle. So go within. Begin there. See with the eye of imagination. Live there. And you will soon find that the world outside has no choice but to yield to the world within. Effort, as most people understand it, is the attempt to force reality into submission. It is the frantic action born of fear, of doubt, of not believing that what you desire is already yours. But effort in this sense is resistance in disguise. It looks like progress, it feels like movement, but beneath the surface it whispers, I do not yet believe. And so the very thing you're trying to attract stays away, not because it is being denied, but because you are still denying it within yourself. True manifestation is never born from struggle. It flows silently and powerfully from a place of inner knowing. When you assume your desire is already fulfilled, when you rest in the feeling of it having already come to pass, you are no longer striving. You are allowing. You become the vessel through which unseen things move into the seen. You are no longer grasping, you are receiving. This does not mean you become passive, but it does mean you abandon the frantic need to control. You stop chasing, persuading, begging, or pushing. You begin to assume your place in the state of the wish fulfilled. And from that state, your actions become inspired, calm, and certain. You move from being a victim of circumstance to the silent cause of it. You cannot manifest what you are still resisting, and resistance often hides behind noble disguises. Working harder, thinking more, planning obsessively, trying to make it happen. But all of these stem from the same root, lack of belief that it already is. If you truly believed you were already what you desired to be, would you still be trying so hard? Or would you simply walk in that new identity, relaxed, confident, expectant? Manifestation is not the reward for effort. It is the result of alignment. When you align your thoughts, feelings, and assumptions with the version of you that already has what you desire, the path unfolds without strain. You are not forcing doors to open. You are walking through doors that are already yours. Effort says, I must change the outer world to feel better inside. Allowing says, I change my inner world and the outer must follow. This is not laziness. It is wisdom. When you stop trying and start assuming, a deep shift occurs within you. You stop treating your desire as something distant, something out there to be hunted down. You begin to live in the present moment as if your desire were already complete. And from that state, life begins to reflect your inner change. The one who rests in faith does not panic when evidence seems contrary. They do not look for proof in the outer world. They already have it in the inner world of their imagination. That inner proof is all that matters. The outer will catch up. It always does. You may be tempted to hustle, to push, to go back to the old ways of forcing things into place. But pause. Ask yourself, am I doing this because I believe it's already mine? Or because I'm still trying to get it? That simple question will reveal whether you're aligned or resisting. Assuming and allowing is not about being careless, it is about being conscious. You are no longer asleep in fear, reacting to everything outside of you. You are awake to the truth that your world mirrors your inner state. You are no longer at war with your circumstances. You are above them, shaping them through unseen currents of imagination and feeling. Let go of effort. Let go of resistance. Enter the state of the wish fulfilled and dwell there in peace. The impossible becomes natural when you stop trying and start knowing. What you assume and allow, you will inevitably experience, because it was yours all along. The impossible is only the unfamiliar. That which seems unreachable, unattainable, or too extraordinary to believe is not truly out of your grasp. It is simply not yet known to your inner world. What you call impossible has not been felt, not been accepted, not been assumed as part of your identity, and until you accept it within, it cannot appear without. Every breakthrough that has ever occurred in this world, every invention, every moment of triumph, every transformation was once considered impossible, yet it came to pass. Not by accident, but because someone dared to accept it as real before the world could see it. They imagined it, believed in it, and lived in the end of it long before others could understand it. You may look at your life and see limits. You may point to your background, your circumstances, your past failures, but none of these are barriers, except the ones you have accepted as true. The real boundary lies in your imagination. If something seems impossible, it is only because you have not yet made it familiar. You have not yet stepped into it in consciousness and made it home. The mind clings to the known. It prefers safety, predictability, and repetition. It resists what it has not yet experienced. But your imagination is not bound by your past. It is the doorway to worlds you've never touched, timelines you've never lived, and versions of yourself you've yet to embody. The moment you begin to accept the so-called impossible as your truth, genuinely, emotionally, and without contradiction, you invite the unfamiliar into form. What you continue to label as impossible, you keep at a distance. You treat it as something outside of yourself, something only others can achieve, something only special people are allowed to experience. But the truth is far more empowering. The only thing separating you from your desire is your unwillingness to claim it within. Impossibility lives in the intellect. It is a calculation based on evidence, history, logic, and facts. But manifestation is not born from the intellect. It is born from the heart, from the deep inner knowing that the unseen is more real than what you can touch. You do not create by proving or by effort. You create by feeling it done and trusting that your inner acceptance will take shape in due time. Once you familiarize yourself with the new state of being, once you live in the imagination as the person who already has what you desire, it no longer feels impossible. It begins to feel natural. And when something feels natural, life bends to match it. What once seemed like a miracle becomes your new normal. Consider the things in your life now that once felt unreachable. At one point, you may have longed for love, stability, or peace. And now perhaps you live in it so comfortably that you've forgotten you once doubted it. This is the pattern of creation. What feels impossible now will one day feel obvious if you are bold enough to accept it before it arrives. The secret is not to wait for evidence. It is to become the evidence in your inner world. Walk as if it is already yours. Think from the end. See through the eyes of fulfillment, not longing. This is not delusion, it is faith. And faith is not hoping. Faith is knowing. Do not fear the unfamiliar. Do not be intimidated by the vastness of your desires. They are not too big for you. They are calling you to expand, to grow into your higher self, to claim what has always been yours in potential. The impossible is not fixed. It is only a state of consciousness you have yet to occupy. The moment you decide to accept it, embody it, and live from it, everything changes. What was once impossible becomes inevitable. The feeling of the wish fulfilled is the secret doorway. It is the invisible passage between the world as it is and the world as you desire it to be. Most walk through life believing that they must first see change in their outer world before they are allowed to feel differently within. But the truth is exactly the opposite. Change begins within. And the key to that change, the very key that unlocks the unseen, is feeling. Truly feel now what you wish to experience later is to draw it into the present. You are not waiting for the external world to confirm your desire. You are confirming it in your own consciousness. The moment you feel it, the moment you dwell in the emotion of already having it, you begin to create the conditions through which it must appear. This is not about pretending. This is not about daydreaming or fantasizing without substance. This is about becoming. You become the person who has it. Now, you think from the end, not of it. You feel from the state of already being the one you desire to be. Not hoping, not begging, but knowing. Feeling is the language of creation. It is the vibration, the signal, the energy that communicates with the unseen intelligence that shapes all things. You may speak words, write affirmations, or take action, but if the feeling contradicts the desire, the results will mirror the feeling. The world does not respond to your wishes. It responds to your inner state. So when you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, when you close your eyes and step into the scene where all is done, and you let yourself feel the joy, the peace, the confidence, the relief, you are entering a new reality. It may not yet be visible to the eyes, but it is real. It is already being shaped by your acceptance of it. Outer appearances are deceiving. They are echoes of past thoughts, past assumptions, past feelings. Do not be fooled into thinking they have power over what comes next. They are simply shadows. The substance is within you. And when you change the feeling, you change the future. This is why so many remain stuck. They continue to observe the outer world and allow it to dictate how they feel. But this only recreates the same experiences over and over. To shift your life, you must reverse the process. Begin with the feeling. Sustain it, protect it, and the outer world must eventually conform. It does not matter how impossible it seems. It does not matter how far away the desire appears. If you can feel it, you can manifest it. If you can dwell in it, live from it, even for a few moments each day, you are watering the seed of your new reality. And just as the seed grows in silence beneath the soil, your desire takes root in the unseen and moves toward visibility. You are not waiting on time, you are not waiting on others. You are only waiting for your own inner acceptance. The moment you accept it emotionally, the door opens. This is the secret doorway. It does not open through force or pleading, it opens through alignment, through the feeling of already being there. And when you walk through that door in consciousness, you don't need to worry about the how. The bridge of incidents will form. The people, the circumstances, the ideas will come. They are drawn to you not by chance, but by resonance. Your feeling is the magnet, and reality bends to meet it. So feel now, smile now, breathe now as the person who already has it. Your feeling is the act of creation. Let the world catch up. It always does. It catches them up. Relaxation is the atmosphere of creation. It is in stillness, not strain, that your deepest desires take root and begin to unfold. Most have been conditioned to believe that only effort brings results, that without struggle nothing of value can emerge. But creation does not arise from tension. It does not spring forth from anxiety or panic. True creation flows from a place of deep inner ease, where the mind is quiet, the heart is open, and the soul is in harmony with the unseen. In relaxation, you let go of control. You stop trying to force outcomes and instead allow yourself to be guided by a higher rhythm. This is not passivity, it is receptivity. You become a clear vessel through which the infinite expresses itself. When you are tense, hurried, or restless, your energy is scattered. You are cut off from the very source that brings your desire into being. But when you enter stillness, you return to your natural power. You align with the creative current that is always flowing beneath the noise of the world. The seed of desire does not grow in hardened soil. It must be planted in the soft, fertile ground of calm acceptance. This is why inner peace is not a luxury, it is the foundation of manifestation. When you relax, you are signaling that you trust. You are showing that you believe in the unseen, that you know your desire is already working its way to you. Fear clenches, faith loosens, anxiety builds walls. Relaxation opens doors. Do not mistake this for indifference. To be relaxed is not to be disinterested. It is to be so sure of the outcome that you no longer need to push. You no longer need to strive or convince or beg. You allow, you receive, you rest in the knowing that what is yours cannot be lost, and what you have imagined has already begun its journey to you. This state of quiet expectancy is where miracles occur, not in noise, not in desperation, but in silence. In those moments when you detach from the chaos of the external and sink into the stillness within, you are aligning with your true creative power. Your subconscious mind, which governs your reality, is most impressionable in states of calm. When you are relaxed, suggestions are received easily. New assumptions take root. New realities begin to form beneath the surface. This is why practices like meditation, visualization, and intentional rest are so powerful, not because they make something happen, but because they clear the space for what is already happening to rise into form. They calm the noise of doubt and make room for faith. They quiet the struggle and awaken the truth that everything is unfolding as it should. Your desires become real to you. You see them clearly. You feel them deeply. You embody the end result, not in some distant future, but now. And in that present moment, you create the conditions for their physical arrival. The outer world may not shift immediately, but the inner shift is the true creation. The rest is merely the unfolding. So let yourself rest. Let yourself breathe. Let yourself believe without effort. Nothing of true value is forced. All that is beautiful, lasting, and meaningful grows in silence first. The oak tree begins as a silent seed. The dawn breaks without noise. So too does your desire. Trust the stillness. In it, everything is working for you. In relaxation, you are not doing nothing. You are doing the most important work of all: receiving, aligning, becoming, and from that state, all things are made possible. An inner conviction bends reality. It is not effort nor constant action that shapes the world around you. It is the certainty you carry within. When you know something as true in your core, when you assume it with unwavering belief, it begins to mold the circumstances of your life to reflect that truth. Conviction is not a mental trick. It is the quiet, immovable knowing that what you desire is already yours. And it is from that place of inner assurance that the outer world yields. You do not chase what is yours. Chasing implies lack. It suggests that what you desire is separate from you, far away, out of reach. But what if you stopped chasing and started assuming? What if you accepted, in the deepest part of yourself, that what you long for is already done, already created, already moving toward you? That is the posture of power. Not desperation, but calm expectation. Not hoping. The world responds not to your words, not to your effort, but to the state you occupy within. If you see yourself as one who already has it, already is it, already lives it, the world bends to meet you there. It has no choice. It is a mirror reflecting your dominant inner state. This is why you must stop looking outside for confirmation. You are not waiting for the world to tell you it's done. The world is waiting for you to declare it so. When you assume it is done, you stop questioning. You stop wondering when or how. You drop the worry, the anxiety, the need to see immediate evidence. You move through your day with the inner poise of someone who already knows. You carry yourself differently. You think differently. You speak differently. Not out of arrogance, but out of alignment. Conviction is not loud. It is not boastful. It is quiet and certain. It is the energy of a person who has placed their order and no longer checks the kitchen to see if it's being made. They trust the process. They trust the power within. They understand that reality is not a fixed structure, but a fluid expression of consciousness. And they are the one directing it. You have done this before, even if unconsciously. You have believed something so deeply that it became real. Perhaps it was fear. Perhaps it was doubt, and life reflected that belief perfectly. But when you reverse the current, when you replace fear with faith, doubt with certainty, everything begins to shift. Not because the world is changing you, but because you are changing the world through your assumption. This is why inner work is the only true work. Outer action can be helpful, but without inner conviction it is hollow. You can strive endlessly and achieve little. Or you can assume quietly, confidently, and watch as life rearranges itself to honor your belief. You do not need to manipulate, persuade, or struggle. You only need to live as though it is already so. So, stop seeking, stop reaching, start remembering. Start embodying. Ask yourself, what would I think, feel, and do if I already had it? And begin to think, feel, and do that now, not later, not when something changes. Now, because that is the moment of power. That is the creative point from which everything flows. Reality is more malleable than you've been told. It bends not to force, but to faith. Not to worry, but to assumption. And the one who walks in the conviction that all is done, that all is well, will see a world that reflects exactly that. Let your inner world lead. The rest will follow. And so, let this truth settle deeply within you. You are not here to chase, to struggle, or to prove. You are here to assume, to feel, to relax, and to know. Reality is shaped not by noise, but by stillness. Not by force, but by faith. The impossible becomes inevitable when you embrace it in your imagination and accept it in your heart. There is no need to try harder, only to trust deeper. What you feel as done becomes done. Live from the end. Walk in the assumption. Rest in the knowing. Everything you seek is already seeking you. All things are unfolding through the power of your inner conviction. Thank you for walking this path of remembrance. Thank you for choosing faith over fear, imagination over limitation, and stillness over struggle. Now go, not to do more, but to be more, to embody your wish fulfilled, and watch as your world transforms accordingly.